Hello, Tar Heel Nation. We're back again. Trying to make it a little more regular, but we are back with the UNC Hoops Talk podcast. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt. We are at the end of the regular season for the Tar Heels, very close to the very end, unfortunately, as we know, as we followed this season. Today, though, we're going to, talk about the Duke game. It's the only game that's been played since the last podcast. We're going to look ahead to the ACC Tournament, see what the Tar Heels have to do to get that automatic bid to the NCAA Tournament, as this is the rare year where that's the only chance we have. Is there even a chance it happens? We'll talk about that stuff, throw out my opinion and all that. But let's jump in after. I thank you for watching, listening, all that. Something's going on with Apple Podcasts. The podcast has not been delivered on time or at all. I don't even know. I can't figure it out to the Apple Podcast. So I got to look into that. But I do appreciate you guys listening, supporting the podcast. It's been a hard year to do that. It's been a hard year to podcast. It's definitely not been the same. I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now, and definitely the hardest year I've had to podcast for obvious reasons. And so I just thank you for being here each week and each podcast, either listening, watching, spreading the word, talking Tar Heel basketball. I know it helps my sanity. Hopefully it helps you a little bit as well, and we can unite Tar Heel Nation a little bit. But I guess let's jump into the Duke game, the regular season finale at Cameron or inside Cameron. Tar Heels came up short, played pretty well. Let's see, trying to find the score here. 89-76, 13-point loss. It was closer than that for a lot of it. I don't know. For the Tar Heels did great. They had it. I think Roy said 54-55. We were down one, and then after that, they kind of came on the run that we never came back from. But there was a couple of points where I was afraid it might start getting away, and they fought back, got it down to 1 point or so, and then the Duke would go on a run, hit a couple threes, whatever, and then that finally ended up happening to where we couldn't come back. But I never felt like they were going to overcome for whatever reason. I wasn't trying to be pessimistic. I was, cheering for it to happen. I was hoping they'd prove me wrong, but never felt like they were going to be able to get over the hump. Even when they got down one, it's like, Duke's going to hit a three, or, they're going to, whatever it is. And they did. A lot of people complaining about the refs. Fouls were 22-15, which both of them seemed kind of low. Some important ones for us. Armando Bacot was in foul trouble pretty early and often. That definitely affected us because we, especially early in the second half, were dominating them inside and taking advantage of that. So with him going out, it changed our game plan there and definitely helped Duke, help Vernon Carey be able to do whatever he wanted to do because Garrison Brooks couldn't just keep fouling, and we tried doubling and then they'd hit a three or whatever. So it was tough. The refs aren't the reason we lost. Is it one-sided? Of course, we're going to say it was as Tar Heel fans. But again, we have to give our guys credit for the way they played and played hard. Really, it came down to, I'm not saying he lost the game for us, but kind of the difference was Cole Anthony not giving us the production that he had been. He ended up with 9 points, shot 4 for 14, 0 for 2 from 3. 1 for 2 from 3. In 39 minutes, he gave us, 9 points, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, and a couple of steals, which, whatever. I mean, okay, but we're used to, 20 points. We're used to, 6, 7 rebounds. What did he give us? 2 rebounds in this one. So he just wasn't himself, didn't shoot the ball well, maybe didn't get the looks that he had been, whatever it is. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but his missing production is kind of what did it. For us to be as close as we were with him only giving us that production is kind of what did us in. Bacot ended up with 13, 12 rebounds, shot 5 for 7, 3 for 6 from the free throw line. Garrison Brooks, 26 points, 13 rebounds. He shot 9 for 22, so not a great percentage, but worked his tail off to get us what he could and to keep us where we were. And again, has been just the anchor to this team, and just been phenomenal. In the history of Carolina, we may not remember this, but he's had a heck of a season. Brandon Robinson, 11 points, missed a big stretch in there, end of the first half, beginning of the second, with his, when he got called for a foul for being elbowed in the face or whatever it is. And again, I'm being a little bit sarcastic there. He maybe did foul him, but he also did get jacked in the face with no repercussions, which I thought was a emphasis this year, and then last year as well, is taking that stuff out of the game. But for whatever reason, Duke was able to do that and get away with it. And that's the stats. We shot 4 for 12 from 3. They shot 10 for 21. They got to the line 33 times and made 29 of them. We shot, not horrible. For as bad as a free throw team we've been at some points this season, we were 14 for 20, but just not nearly the amount. For us to win, I think we had to get them in foul trouble. Again, last time we fouled out Vernon Carey, and Trey Jones kind of took us over. If we could have gotten him in foul trouble, I think we would have been able to withstand anything Trey Jones would have been trying to do this time. Weren't able to do that. We had to get to the free throw line. I think rebounds, out rebounded them by 1, 38-37. I think we had to do a better job there. We took care of the ball well, only 9 turnovers, but they only had 12. And without even our turnovers, they had 19 fast break points. It says here we had 5. So, they were kind of doing to us what we a lot of times do to other teams, and it kind of did us in. For them, Trey Jones, 21 points, 11 assists. Vernon Carey, 25 points, 10 rebounds, and then Cassius Stanley as well, 19 points. And then, Justin Robinson at 13 points. He shot 4 for 6 from 3, which is, this is what's crazy. And hopefully I don't ramble on too much or spend too much time on this, but this is what's crazy to me is that Coach K can get away with something like this. If he is that good to be getting, what do you play, 25 minutes, shoot 4 for 6 from 3, score 13 points for them in the biggest rivalry in college basketball. Where has he been? Why has he been? He's a senior now. He's been sitting on the bench for 3 years plus, 80% of this season. He's only been playing meaningful minutes for like the last 4 or 5 games. So is he this good? Did he all of a sudden just become that much better? If I'm that kid, if I'm Justin Robinson, I'm ticked off because I've proven that I can do this, and now I've only gotten to show that I can do this in 5 games in my entire 4-year career. Even if it's only this year, if he worked really hard over the offseason, got really good this year, where has he been? And I think Coach K is the only one that can get away. When have we ever had a player that's been sitting on the bench and then just all of a sudden, boom? We've had it year to year. Bryce Johnson, big time year. Even Garrison Brooks this year, big time year compared to what he's had. But it's not like we just plug somebody in and all of a sudden, like, they're doing awesome for the rest of the year like that. And they haven't played for 3.5 years on our team. And then on the other part is, Matthew Hurt playing all those minutes at the beginning. And I get he's a freshman. You're kind of figuring out what he's got. He's highly touted. Figure out he's not as good as he was advertised, or he's just not ready or whatever, and he's losing his minutes. But Jack White as well. He had been playing big minutes. He got 6 minutes tonight against us. Or, well, not tonight. In our game against Duke, he played 6 minutes. Javin DeLaurier, he's been up and down, 11 minutes in this one. So is Jack White good enough to be starting? He started all of last year, even when he was shooting really bad. Started some this year. Played 6 minutes against us, and probably probably all 6 of those were at the beginning of the game when he started. Coach K actually started the seniors here. Probably played those 6 minutes, and then he was probably done, and he gave them nothing. There's no stat line there. So is he this bad, or is he, is Coach K playing head games? Wendell Moore, even. I feel like last game, he was the hero, had the game-winning bucket, tipped in that air ball from Trey Jones. He didn't do a whole lot in this game. He had 4 points, 5 rebounds, a couple assists, couple of turnovers, foul, shot 1 for 4 in 23 minutes. So is he, where is he at? Jordan Goldwire, he hadn't been playing at all until into this season. I don't know. And Roy's had, or I mean, not Roy, Coach K's had this before where some guys are going on a stretch and all of a sudden, boom, they're not playing at all. Or he just takes some random guy off Alex O'Connell. He didn't play at all in this game. I don't know. Maybe he's hurt. I didn't even pay attention to that. But he's had games where he starts and then other times he doesn't play at all. And like, how does he get away with the lack of consistency here, minus his top guys? Usually they're playing 6, 7 guys in a rotation. They don't, aren't usually deep, and that's, their excuse is, oh, we're not a deep team. But Coach K just seems so inconsistent with that. And I don't want this to be a Duke podcast. I don't want to go off on this. It's just crazy to me that Coach K can get away with this and just be so inconsistent where a guy doesn't play for his entire career up to the last 5 games of his 4-year career. And all of a sudden he's so important. And if he can hit a couple of threes, we're going to win. And I don't know. I guess that's my soapbox. But anyway, it is what it is. Game kind of went how I thought it would. Again, I think we actually did better than what I thought. I didn't think, for us to get it down to 1 a couple of times there really surprised me in a good way. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get over the hump and all that stuff. And so we do end up last in the ACC, the 14th seed, because Georgia Tech is not eligible for the postseason, and so they don't play in the ACC tournament. And so we do play on Tuesday. We have to win 5 games in 5 days in order to get the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Otherwise, we're probably done. I don't know. We're not going to get into the NIT because we can't be 500. I don't know if we'd even take a bid to the CBI or CIT or any of those other tournaments that no one ever pays attention to. So really our next loss is the end of the season for us. Even if somehow we get in, win these 5 games, get into the tournament, obviously we lose one and we're out of there. So it all comes down to this. We started off Tuesday night. It's a 7 p.m. Eastern tip against Virginia Tech, the 11th seed in the ACC tournament. It'll be on the ACC network. Both games on Tuesday. Wake Forest and Pitt play at 4:30 Eastern on the ACC network. And then after that, I don't know. It says that all games will be either ESPN, ESPN2, or ACC network. I'm kind of guessing that most games after Tuesday will be on either ESPN or ESPN2, but don't hold me to that. And we will be the late game every night. We play 7 p.m. Eastern Tuesday. If we win or when we win, we'll play Syracuse, the 6th seed, at 9 p.m. Eastern. And again, these are, they only give 2-hour slots for these. So the game before us, Notre Dame, Boston College, is at 7. So really we're going to be tipping at, 9:30, 9:45 Eastern time on Wednesday. And then the same thing on Thursday. If we win, we'd play Louisville, and Louisville will be their first game. It'll be our 3rd game in 3 days. It's their first game, 9 p.m. Eastern tip. But again, Virginia plays the winner of the other game at 7 p.m. Eastern, so it's going to be 9:45 or 9:30 at least before that one tips. And then again for the semifinal, again if we're still there, Virginia being the higher seed, I would assume. 9 p.m. game, and then the championship game on Saturday would be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So, be intriguing for me. I think we can beat Virginia Tech. I heard somebody say too, with as many threes as Virginia takes, though, they could blow us out, or it could be an easy win for us, just depending on if they're hitting threes or not. Syracuse doesn't really worry me, but then saying that almost worries me because we beat them so early. Do they come back and able to handle us and adjust to us more than we adjust to their adjustments, if that makes sense? But we can win against Virginia Tech, but as we know this season, we know that any game can be a loss as well. So Virginia Tech on that Tuesday, we got to win it, get some revenge on them. Remember when we did play them, we went to overtime. We didn't have B-Rob, we didn't have Cole Anthony, so a little bit of a different game in this one. Syracuse, we played so well, and not even this year, but over the years, we've broken down that zone so well, getting to the high post, and we've had a lot of different guys. It's not like this team has handled Syracuse. It's over the last 5 years or so. We've handled that zone really well, so that bodes well for us. But who knows? Louisville is going to be a heck of a matchup if we do make it there. Somebody was saying that's kind of our worst of the top four. That's our worst matchup there is Louisville. I would say Louisville and Virginia. We played Florida State tight when we played them this year. Duke, we've had a couple of good games with them. Obviously, we know what happened the first one. But Virginia and Louisville are such a tough matchup for us. And now we not only have to play Louisville after, it'd be a third game in 3 days. And then if we do beat them, Virginia wins. We play Virginia 4 games in 4 days in just their second game. So it's really stacked up. Obviously, that's why nobody's done it yet in the ACC tournament. And then, even if we beat Virginia, we're still not done. We play, Florida State or Duke or somebody else in the championship. So I just can't predict that North Carolina's going to do it. I know, Cole Anthony's getting people hyped up, saying nobody wants to see us now, and obviously it's our last chance. We got to put it all in there. Who cares if it's 5 games in 5 days? Once you lose, you're out. So I think they'll be playing hard, but part of me too thinks if something goes wrong and it starts to slip away, do we say, this is the end of the season? And they haven't mailed it into this point, so hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think Roy's going to kind of allow them to, but part of me could see that happening is at some point some game starts to get away from them a little bit, and then it gets away a lot of it just because they're tired, fatigued, and just outmatched, trying to do what they're trying to do here. So we first got to get past Virginia Tech, and even in that one, I think I would rather see Wake Forest and Pitt, the 12 or 13, but it's set in stone now. It's matched up. Recording this on Monday, so tomorrow night we started off Virginia Tech 7 p.m. Eastern tip. ACC Network, be looking for that one. And I'm going to try to. I already talked to Blake from Keeping It Heel. If you've been watching and listening to the podcast, he's been on before. I said we'll podcast after the game on that one. So and we'll do it live on YouTube just like I usually do. But if you'd like to kind of join the podcast with comments and watching it live, it'll be on YouTube. We'll do that, an hour or so after that Virginia Tech game is over. So if you're up that late and want to jump in, we'd love to have you and have the comments and just the commentary as we're talking through that game and looking ahead to the Syracuse game and just kind of talking about the season as a whole. And my thought is, as long as we win, keep podcasting after, just kind of having live shows after each game. I do leave out of town on Saturday, so I won't be able to do it after the championship if we do win and get all the way there. But know that we will get a podcast shortly after. If we're there for sure, we'll get it out as fast as we can, of course. And then, I hope even after the North Carolina season is going to end, if we don't win the ACC tournament and get into the tournament, I hope you'll stick with us because we will have coverage of the March Madness, the NCAA tournament. We'll have our bracket challenge for the podcast listeners like we do every year. So be looking for that so you can enter into that. And like I said, we'll be talking through our matchups. Hopefully me and Gil will actually get to do a podcast together, kind of talk about our picks, and each round we'll hopefully get to go through and have another podcast of just recapping big games, close games, the buzzer beaters, games coming up, and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you'll stick with us through the end of March here and through the season, even though North Carolina won't be in it more than likely. And of course, if they are, all the better. But yeah, stick with us. And I think that's about all I got here. I do have, as I record live here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you'll subscribe. Wherever you're listening, though, I hope you'll subscribe and stay with us. That hopefully the show will come right to you. But on YouTube, I do have a comment here from Tar Heels and Kicks. If we don't win the ACC, then ending the season and getting ready for next season would be best. I think he talks about not going into another tournament there, which, yeah, I kind of agree with. Although, if you're in another tournament, obviously getting practice, it won't be the team we have next year, but getting guys, more practice and getting more shots and all that stuff. But at some point too, we got to heal. We know what the season's been like, and guys got bumps and bruises and just kind of beat up. And at some point, we're going to have to talk about it too. A lot of people have been starting to say, maybe Garrison Brooks leaves because of the season he had. I I don't think he does, and we'll get into this more in the offseason before obviously the NFL or NBA draft, and we'll see if he even talks about it. But the way the NBA is going away from post players so much is such a guard game. His game is just not made for the NBA, and after this, I just don't see it. Who knows? It could. If he says this is the best season I'm going to have, this is the highest my stock's going to be, I got to take advantage of it. Maybe he goes. I don't know, but I don't see that happening. People have talked about Baycott going. Again, I just can't see it, but we'll see. Kids have made crazier choices. Obviously, it's their choice to make. Whether it's to go into the G League, they make it in the NBA on a roster, go overseas, whatever. There's a lot of money being made as a professional basketball player if you got the skills, and if they do, you can't really fault them for that. So we'll talk more about that again after the season's officially over. We'll get people on here talking about it, hopefully, and all that good stuff. But I think that's all I got this week, and hopefully the plan is to see you guys after the Syracuse game. Or not after the Syracuse game, after the Virginia Tech game tomorrow night. That podcast may not get up until Wednesday, but we'll have our immediate reactions. And again, you can watch it live on YouTube with us. But I'm going to cut this one off here before I ramble too much and get this up for you guys as well. Hopefully you can find it. If you don't find stuff on Apple Podcasts, please find another podcast app or something. For whatever reason, Apple Podcasts is having troubles with it. So I hope we stay connected. And until next time, go Heels.